So this is my second video with my Toyota Sienna van here. If you haven't watched the first one, feel free to do so. This is a little bit more details, my tape measure and some tools, and we're going to take apart some of the interior. Let me know what you think. So I've removed the bed subframe and the bed platform to start by addressing the floor. This floor is plywood with supports underneath and vinyl flooring on top. I got the vinyl flooring at my favorite place, which is the Habitat for Humanity Restore. They often have really good deals on flooring and a bunch of other building materials. I don't remember what thickness. I think I went with 5/8 plywood. It may be 3/4, but anyway, I didn't go super far back with it. You can see its ends right at about where the third row seat front mounts would have been. Yeah, I trimmed it out with angle aluminum just from Home Depot. This piece is, I think it was a 1x3 pine that I cut down to sort of fit this shape. It's not a straight line. Not sure if we can get a good view of that, but that part's important. You put weight down on that. You don't want it to flex too much. There's various random structural pieces, much like this, under the floor. I'm not gonna take the flooring out. I don't have time to do that today. I would have to remove those cabinets as well, which I'm not going to do, but we can get a good idea of it. The front is also trimmed out with aluminum. Let's see if I can get a better view. From the front seats, looking backwards, you can see there's another, I had to raise the front up and the back is laying flat on the floor because the floor on these minivans is just not even close to flat. That's about all I can really say about the floor, all I can think of to say. The floor is the first thing I did, and I would say if you're gonna be doing a conversion, I would definitely do that again. The floor first, everything else on top of that. There was 4 stages to this build. I started with the floor, moved on to this side cabinet, and then I built the bed structure, and then finally the worktop cabinet. But that's the order of operations, and that's kind of how I'm going to go about it today, in that order: the floor, the side cabinet, the bed, and the kitchen. So once I had the floor completed, I knew that I wanted a storage cabinet on the driver's side here. Observing the van, it seemed like there was a lot of wasted space with this plastic panel. So I actually removed the driver's side plastic panel, and it opened up a lot of space. I covered it with a single layer of Reflectix, and then this automotive and or outdoor carpet. It looks really terrible. I didn't do a good job of it. Fortunately, it all gets hidden when you put stuff in the cabinets, and so it doesn't really need to look pretty. But that did, I feel like it opened up a lot of space. It gave these cabinets space to be fairly deep. So to make this cabinet, I started with a structure which is essentially just the outline of the cabinet using 2x2 wood. I actually cut down some 2x4 cedar, but if I were to do it again, I would just buy 2x2 pine or whatever. Made this angle. The cabinet mounts where the seatbelt used to mount. This is like a cargo D-ring that I secured to the 2x2 frame, and then I used the original seatbelt bolt to mount it to the body of the car. The front side of the cabinet, similarly, is mounted to the seatbelt hole. This is just a piece of metal that was bent. I bent it a little bit more to mount to the structure of the cabinet and then to the frame of the vehicle through the seatbelt mounting hole. This opening to the rear of the vehicle is not accessible in daytime mode with the couch up. So I tend to keep the comforter down in there, and it is rather cavernous. There's a lot of space back in there. And I also wanted to show you the exhaust vent. Those two computer fans are mounted on top of what's called an equalizer. Most vehicles have them. It's like a one-way air flap that allows air to escape when you close the doors, that doesn't allow air to come in, and along with that, bugs and other critters that would want to come into the car can't get in. It's just a one-way flap. So I mounted two computer fans there, which are controlled by this switch, and this is a pulse width modulated speed controlled switch. Now that fans are on, this works pretty good. It doesn't work when I stuff that cubby full of blankets. Oftentimes that will just block the fans. But it does work really well if you leave the windows cracked, which you can do thanks to the little rain visors. Leave the windows cracked, no one will know, no rain will get in. So that's my method of having an exhaust fan without mounting like a max air fan to the roof or anything super conspicuous. For the upper shelf, this is the main area where I store a lot of stuff that I access all the time. I used just this elastic, which I got from like a sewing project. It's like 1/4 inch elastic. And so you can sort of move it out of the way, stuff things in there, and then the elastic does not allow them to fall out while you're driving. I got these clear plastic drawers on Amazon, of course, and they are also held in by a piece of elastic, which is easy to manipulate and move when you want to open a drawer, but sort of springs back into position to keep these things closed while I'm driving. This front forward cubby holds a lot of stuff as well. I usually pack my clothes into packing cubes, and I can fit like all of my clothes and more down in here. I also have the 2000 watt inverter over here. The switch for it is right there to turn it on and off. So I just reach in here to turn it on and off. That's a speaker. It's a brand new speaker, but it's in the same place that the speaker originally was back when this looked more like a minivan inside. One more note while I'm on the subject of this cabinet is the diesel fuel tank. These diesel fuel tanks have a nasty habit of smelling because the caps are vented. There's a small hole there. And there's a one-way flap inside this cap that's supposed to only let air in, but not out, I think. They end up failing and letting air go both ways and stinking up the cabins when people mount them inside. So I covered it with duct tape. I thought, maybe someday I'd make something more permanent. Haven't gotten around to that. The hole there is covered, and I did install a vent here. This is just another nipple, just like there is on the bottom to supply the fuel, but this is air vent. I have hose going up into this plastic and then back down and out the bottom of the vehicle, so it is actually vented to the exterior, and I have no issues with any kind of diesel smell. For the fuel supply line, it's hard to see in there. It runs out the bottom of the tank over to the side of the wall and then out through the bottom underneath the vehicle to the pump, which is somewhere around here under the vehicle, and then up to the diesel heater itself. I used actual fuel hose. I think it's Gates fuel hose, something from Napa, because the fuel hose that comes with these kits is often brittle and unreliable. I did use the cheap fuel hose as the air vent. While I'm back here, I had a few questions about the spare tire. The spare tire did come with this van when I bought it as a minivan. It's upside down. The inside is ugly, but it actually looks exactly like the wheels on the van when you turn it over. It's the factory size, so obviously my tires are bigger than factory now. If you get an all-wheel drive second generation Sienna, I'm not sure about the thirds and onwards, the plastic is indented on the driver's side in the back, and in the front there's normally plastic, but there's an indentation that fits a spare tire full size just perfectly. It's kind of hard to tell, but if you inspect closely you will see it. It's also kind of hard to fit the tire in there when you go to try it, but if you really shoehorn it and just get, it's just a matter of finding the right angle, it'll slide right in. I can get this tire out just fine without removing the bed to this point. I just have to sort of slide the bed panel, subframe, and cushions all the way forward, and then I have access to it and get it out. Fortunately, I haven't had to yet. And this is some wiring for the diesel heater, the inverter remote mounted over there, and then of course the water tube from the water tank over to the water faucet. So moving on, we've just gone over the side cabinet and it's time to move on to the bed.